Hey, I'm Alexandra Schild from Concordia News, and I'm here to talk to you today about Sustainable Development Goal number 15, which is called Life on Land. It focuses on curbing desertification and land degradation, protecting biodiversity, and sustainably managing forests and ecosystems. This is quite a broad topic, therefore the goal has been split into 12 measurable sub-goals, which should be carried out by either 2020 or 2030. Some of the sub-goals listed are, and I'm quoting directly, taking action to end poaching and trafficking of protected species, reducing the impact of invasive alien species on land and water ecosystems, and mobilizing significant resources to finance sustainable forest management. These goals are tracked on a yearly basis to ensure that progress is being made. This is a very important goal as land degradation alone will affect over 1 billion people worldwide. Millions of people in Africa have already been forced to migrate in search of water and arable land due to desertification. In addition to displacing families, desertification has also been the cause of a lot of conflict and violence in the affected regions. It's difficult to halt or even slow desertification, and seeing as it's concentrated in certain parts of the world, the unaffected nations aren't convinced that they need to be a part of the solution. Habitat destruction due to desertification, deforestation, land conversion, etc. is causing a greater loss in biodiversity than we would have ever expected. Biodiversity is currently declining at an alarming rate, and if it continues at this pace, our global food and water supply will be at risk. We need to continue to monitor and track these goals to ensure we reach our targets by 2030. Here's Olivia, who can provide us some insight on how the goal is progressing so far.
Thanks, Alexandra. As far as progress goes, as a nation we have advanced in a variety of different aspects and have been able to meet numerous developmental challenges. Poverty is a major global challenge that is necessary to eliminate in order to support sustainable development. With this being said, poverty rates within this generation have decreased greatly, bringing hundreds and millions of people out of their economic struggle. Nationwide, we have also made progress when it comes to expanding education. The access boys and girls have to education has begun to rise enormously. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development emphasizes the importance of education and states that the spread of information and communications technology and global interconnectedness has great potential to accelerate human progress, to bridge the digital divide, and to develop knowledgeable societies. Aside from social and economical progress, we have also made progress against land degradation. Adopting policies is an effective way to battle environmental issues. In most states, policies focusing on conservation of forests and agricultural lands have been adopted. China has taken on a 5-decade program that is directed towards diminishing land degradation. Brazil has also taken a large leap against deforestation by giving protected status to 500,000 square kilometers of the Amazon. To conclude, there are different organizations and programs that assist progress at an international level. The correlation between deforestation and climate change has led to a rise in international action and programs such as the REDD, or Reducing Emissions from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, which is a program designed to reward states for avoiding deforestation. The UNCCD, or United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, is a program of great importance. Let's go to Sarah to hear more about this convention.
Today's top story is on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, Land on Life, which leads us to focus on an important program that has contributed greatly to the goals surrounding today's top story. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, or UNCCD for short, has a vision to end desertification, a pressing matter that has already affected some of the world's most vulnerable populations and drylands. Due to desertification, many areas of the world have suffered great losses. Lake Chad in Africa has depleted by 93%, and the Sahara Desert is extending south 30 kilometers every year. Not to mention the Aral Sea in Central Asia has reduced by half. Desertification has taken place on 1/3 of the Earth's surface and continues to threaten every area of the globe, including our own. As a result, about 65 million people are suffering from poverty and disease, with an annual loss in agriculture reaching $42 billion. Unfortunately, desertification is a problem created by human activities, such as reckless destruction of forests, excessive farming, and grazing. The earth is slowly turning into a desert where no land can flourish. The UNCCD, however, has a vision to end desertification by focusing on reforestation efforts alongside its 193 country parties. Some might ask how the UNCCD structure helps develop these goals, and how might the actors within the program aid in successful desertification initiatives. In an interview with the Executive Secretary of the UNCCD, he had explained that the importance of his role was to work in such a way with his team to bring the nations of the world who have ratified this convention to live up to their commitment. Although there are multiple layers which help guide nations towards sustainable land goals, as Sabrine Sacher, Associate Program Office of UNCCD, reveals in the importance of reporting on the Implementation Framework section under the 2017-2018 UNCCD reporting process. Parties involved are to describe how they have used financial and non-financial resources to implement the convention, as well as how they have used existing or innovative financial institutions and processes. The reporting process also invites nations to share how they are establishing systems of knowledge and information, and how they have made steps towards land management and increased reforestation efforts. What makes the UNCCD special from other environmental projects, initiatives, or conventions? Well, it is described as the sole legally binding international agreement linking environment and development to sustainable land management, and is one of the 3 major UN conventions on environment. Since the conception of the UNCCD, has made stepping stones for various actions to target land issues across the globe. These include the Green Wall Initiative, the LND Target Setting Program, as well as the LND Fund, the Capacity Building Marketplace, the Land for Life Program, the Drought Initiative, and the UN Decade for Deserts, to name a few. These diverse programs and initiatives make the UNCCD a dynamic and innovative convention that improves the lives of vulnerable populations in drylands and enables sustainable development goals to be met. An example of these programs' success could be taken from the Green Wall Initiative, which aims to restore Africa's degrading landscapes and, in the process, transform millions of lives in one of the world's poorest regions, the Sahel. Since 2007, initiatives have managed to restore 5 million hectares of degraded land in Nigeria, while creating 20,000 jobs. 11.4 million trees have been planted, and 25,000 hectares of degraded land have been restored in Senegal, as well as more than 2 million seeds and seedlings planted from 5th native species of trees in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali.
Thank you, Sarah. We all truly hope this program continues to help. By year 2030, the Life on Land Sustainable Development Goal aims to combat desertification, restore degraded land and soil, including land affected by desertification, drought, and floods, and strives to achieve a land degradation neutral world. Unfortunately, even with the help of great programs such as the UNCCD, we still face many challenges in achieving this goal. Let us start by looking at ourselves in the northern part of the world. Although desertification risks are high, only in areas designated as drylands, characterized by limited water resources, the process by which land is degraded to a point where agriculture is unsustainable, our environmental impact, for example, our use of fossil fuels, has an impact on accelerating the process of desertification. Generally, it is difficult to halt or even slow desertification for many reasons. To add to this, seeing as it is concentrated in certain parts of the world, unaffected nations, such as our own, are not convinced that they need to do something to help combat it. Although desertification does not directly affect us, in order to achieve the 15th Sustainable Development Goal by year 2030, we need to take action. Adding to our responsibility is the amount of the world's forestry we have. One of the greatest challenges in protecting the world's existing forests is the lack of urgency from the northern public. According to the Deforestation and Land Degradation Chapter 4, the northern public's concern with the atmosphere and biodiversity does not seem to extend to a concrete willingness to even negotiate a serious convention on forestry that would include temperate forest. Moving on to a global scale, rising world population levels and consumption rates are a massive part of the reason it will be difficult to achieve this goal. Put bluntly, we seem to have trouble controlling the insatiable twin appetites of population growth and economic process. And overall, we continue to accelerate devastation of precious ecosystem services, resources, and habitats. This terrible appetite is another great challenge. If we are to even have a chance at achieving this goal, it is necessary for our consumption to slow down and for it to begin to shrink. The difficulty of actually achieving this reduction in consumption has been shown time and time again. The call to action has been ignored on every level of our society. That being said, I am hopeful and do believe in our ability to change, but not without facing the challenges I've mentioned. The battle to achieve the 15th goal by 2030 will not be an easy one, but one worth fighting for. Thank you.